How are you? Today is June 29th, 2021. My name is Mark Nejma, and I'm from Newsweed.com. I'm going to cover a few stories that I've run across in the news that might be helpful for you to make some decisions in your own life, or at least to pay attention to what's happening in the world. Over in the UAE, otherwise as we would call to say Dubai, uh, Yair Lapid is the first Israeli minister in history to officially visit the United Arab Emirates, otherwise known as the UAE. After he arrived in the country on Tuesday to inaugurate Israel's embassy in Abu Dhabi and consulates in Dubai, Israel's newly installed foreign minister, hosted by his Emirati counterpart Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The country's top two diplomats are expected to discuss a range of bilateral issues over the two-day visit, including economic cooperation, trade, and security. We also would like you to know that there will be some tax discussion. There's actually been a tax agreement between Israel and the UAE. What's important to remember here is this is big news because recently, with the problems in Palestine, UAE typically, since they're an Arab country, would be very friendly towards Palestine. It seems strange that they would now be negotiating with Israel. Maybe this is all part of bringing more peace to the area, and that's a good thing. Um, Israel, of course, is the United States ally, and with Joe Biden's recent attack on some of the weapons depots in Syria and in Iraq, um, again, this is a very diplomatic move by Yair Lapid, uh, Israel's prime minister, to kind of cool things down as an intermediary. Although there is a lot of discussion on Iran and the aggression of Iran towards Israel and their participation in Syria and Lebanon. Moving on to something a little lighter. Um, in Asbury Park on July 29th, 2021, there's going to be a 150-person networking event for cannabis. The interesting thing about this event is that, number one, even though it's in July 29th and the boardwalk is packed with people, it's a pretty much a closed door meeting. They're only allowing 150 people in. The tickets are all sold. There's a large law firm from New Jersey that is sponsoring the event, and it just seems like it should be more open to more people. Newsweed.com will be hosting an event to get people together and talk about business, and we'll try to get some public officials involved as well and hold the event in a town that's going to allow the sale of marijuana and or has dispensaries in it. We'll probably have it at a hotel, so please look out for that. We'll plan that event sometime in September or October. In terms of real estate, I'm going to give you my opinion uh, after I give you this information. Home prices in April saw an annual gain of 14.6%. That means if your house was worth 100,000, um, it's now worth 114,000. That's just up from 13% increase in March. So houses and the price of houses keep rising and rising and rising. This is a good thing if you own a house. It's a bad thing if you're trying to buy a house or you're trying to gauge the market in terms of what is real value. I'd like to point out something very important. Number one, the United States government has allowed renters not to pay rent since COVID came about. They have also allowed people with homes not to go into foreclosure as long as COVID was around. This is the same thing that happened back in the financial crisis. There was sort of a moratorium on mortgages. Uh, I know this firsthand. I lost my home to a foreclosure because you kind of get soft when the government is saying you don't have to pay, and then you think you can catch up and you can't. What happened is you had a glut of houses that were even still on the books this year, the beginning of this year, that were foreclosed. And you just never catch up. This creates a huge shift in the amount of equity that you have and what you can do in your life. It also creates a big problem for your credit rating. So I think we're going to be heading into a major real estate crash um, because of what I've seen in the past with the financial crisis. I don't think that there's any way you can avoid it. Secondly, I'd like to say that I don't think we're going to see inflation because all these people that have been getting these checks in this supposedly booming economy, I think is because of the checks that they've been receiving, plus add in the fact that no one had to pay rent or their mortgage. So that money was dumped into the economy, and it's going to create really, really big repercussions. As Kathy Wood has said, the economist, and I'm not going to quote her, but from what I understood that she said, that we should be expecting deflation with falling prices, particularly in oil and gas and so forth, as then our economy will cool off very quickly. So that's something for you to really pay attention to. In other news, our favorite scientist, Elon Musk, on Tuesday said SpaceX satellite internet network Starlink recently passed nearly 70,000 active users. If you have a new vehicle, like I do, um, you probably have Starlink. But the other day I did receive an urgent message saying that there was something wrong with Starlink. It seems that on Tuesday, SpaceX satellite internet network Starlink recently passed 70,000 users and expects fast-paced growth the year ahead. Musk said we are on our way to having a few 100,000 users, possibly over 500,000 users within 12 months. Musk said speaking virtually at a Mobile World Congress trade show in Barcelona, Spain. Starlink is the company's capital-intensive project to build interconnected internet network with thousands of satellites known in space industry as a constellation, designed to deliver high-speed internet. I also heard today that there is some problems with the Starlink system, and I want to point out to you that Global Satellite, symbol GSAT, has recently been rising rapidly. It went up from about $1.15. I believe it's about $2 right now. So I had owned that stock, but I sold the stock after too many people said there's no way you can ever compete with Elon Musk. Well, it seems like Global Satellite uh, is a pretty good company and is competing with Elon Musk. So this news right here could just be a little bit of hype because I've heard that there's been satellite problems with heat, overheating, and many other things. In other areas of investing, SPACs, special acquisition companies, are kind of out of style right now. The prices are way down. There's about 500 or 600 SPACs that are out there, but they're not performing well. Uh, you might want to look into them in 6 months or a year and see where they are. There's some pretty interesting stuff. Um, Playboy is a SPAC, which is going to be selling NFTs. Topps, the baseball card company. A lot of hype was around them, but now it seems like they're going out of favor. Excuse me one second. Big news. Crypto. Everybody hears crypto is bad. Crypto is good. I get confused of it. Uh, I feel like I'm a little fickle in terms of crypto, but it seems as if crypto is for real. Day after day, I keep talking about crypto, and I think you should really pay attention. Of course, I don't know that much about it, but crypto-friendly travel site marks U.S. debut with Dogecoin payment option. That's huge for Dogecoin. So this travel site, which I'll read a little bit more on, is saying that they're going to take Dogecoin. So if they're going to take Dogecoin, and you think that the price of Dogecoin is going to go up faster than air prices or travel prices, you're going to buy Dogecoin and say, hey, I'll save this for when I travel. It's a big deal, and it can happen in any industry. So crypto may not replace the dollar, but the crypto may become a speculative tool for those people who are working very hard, but they want to say, hey, I want my vacation to be worth what a wealthy person's vacation is worth. So I'm going to buy crypto now, and when I go on vacation, I'm going to try to spend it because I think the value of crypto is going up. That makes life a lot more interesting. When you're actually saving money in an asset for it to grow so you can spend it. And if these travel companies and other types of businesses start to accept crypto, it's going to become a very exciting green stamp type world. Another interesting point regarding to crypto. Out in Wyoming, they drill for oil and they drill for gas. Pennsylvania, they do the same thing. Many places, right? That's what we called fracking through shale. When they frack through shale, they find more oil and they find more gas. Well, that can be a very environmentally unfriendly event since the byproduct of it, the fumes that come off while they're drilling, can be bad for the environment. Well, some smart crypto miners have come up with a way to actually tap that in Wyoming, that blow off or that burn off that is normally there, and they're turning that into energy, which is helping mine crypto. Fascinating stuff. I mean, you got to really give it to people that are this innovative. So Dogecoin is being used for travel, and excess wasted normal burn off from Wyoming drilling facilities is now being used as energy to mine crypto. Absolutely fascinating. Um, so that's that. Let's move on to anything. It seems like in the marijuana market, there has not been many stories lately, particularly on CNBC, or at least much less stories. You have to wonder if marijuana trade is busted. Anyway, uh, there's other news, but we can't cover it all. Uh, the Abraham Accords, the PR of the peace deals, the Gulf states, that's happening there. And that's pretty much it. Oh, one thing I want to tell you is United went and placed a 200 plane order with Boeing. Boeing has been a company that's been on a lot of pressure and it affects the Dow very much, the Dow Jones Index. And today, United Airlines came out and said they're going to buy 200 planes. So that means a lot of money to Boeing. So I think that's pretty important news because the people in Seattle then will be employed, and hopefully Boeing can make a plane that doesn't crash, uh, and that they don't have to have a horrible PR situation where they refuse to answer any questions and never take any responsibility. Let's just think about the people in Asia that lost their lives. I believe it was 368 people lost their lives because of a Boeing jet that just kind of, two of them actually, they just kind of nosedived. So I was on a Boeing plane last week. I hope that Boeing does a good job because I'd like to live. Okay, well, that's our news for today. Um, it's the end of June already. Hey, wow, we're getting older. I expected by the end of June my hair would start growing back, but it has not. So most likely you're either a little thinner, a little fatter, a little faster, a little slower. Either way, time has gone by and there's been plenty of news. I hope we've helped you to at least get our opinionated version on the news, and that we've enlightened you a little bit. Please invest in the stock market, and remember, it's never as it seems. Good night.